All right, guys, welcome back to the Tye-Dyed Iguana. Showed you our new Fluval BIO-CO2 system the other day, kind of the unboxing, but today we're gonna actually show you how to set it up now that I actually have sugar to put in it. So this is our 250 liter system, does 66 US gallons for us here in America. So what we're gonna start out with is the bubble counter. The bubble counter actually comes with an extra O-ring in here, so make sure you take that out first. I am taking a nice little Ziploc bag, putting the O-ring in, and I am going to put it then back into the box and kind of save the box under the aquariums. That way I don't lose it, because otherwise I definitely will. There's so much stuff here in the store that I'm gonna lose it. Next step then is actually filling the bubble counter with a little bit of water. It does recommend filling it about 3/4 of the way full. So I have, and that's just with a little room temperature tap water, so have it here. That looks pretty good there. Then we screw it back on. So after we get that on, we screw back on the top, then we're actually gonna take this and we mount it to the canister itself. This is what's gonna help you decipher how much CO2 is actually going into your system. Just kind of a hand tighten. We don't want to crank this down, don't need to break any gaskets. Next step is going to be adding our booster packet and our activation packet here. For this system, you run 2 of each. For the smaller system, you can get by with just 1. And you just add both of these in. So we screw open the wonderful container here. Yep, so these are the booster packs, and then the activator is here. I'm gonna shake those down, so. All right, so we have our boosters and activators in there. Next step is going to be adding in the sugar. Now, for this unit, it actually takes 2.5 cups of sugar. So we'll just go ahead and it's actually, this might be easier because it has it by milliliters. It says 600 milliliters. So now our sugar is in. So next step is now filling it with room temperature tap water. You can see that little marking inside there on the side. So that is your water fill line. I got just some room temperature tap water here. Gonna pour that straight in. That was perfect. Like literally, it is to the line. I did not expect that. All right, so after that then, we're gonna go ahead, take it, and just kind of screw it back together. Doesn't say about mixing or anything, so I'm just gonna kind of let it do its thing, probably as the water kind of soaks up, and then just hand tighten it. Next step is going to actually take the handy dandy airline it comes with. We're gonna hook this up to the system. You just kind of unscrew this top little piece here. Run that through. Hook that onto the little nipple here. So this is just the compression fitting to hook on the airline. This airline's how we're gonna actually get it into the tank. And then we are going to attach our diffuser to the other line. And don't wanna break it, but a lot of times you see these diffusers are made out of glass. These guys actually made it really nice and economical, so they aren't glass. I'm sure a glass one would get destroyed in here. So just kind of fits over the end of it here. And then our next step is gonna be putting this in the tank, but we're gonna go ahead, it comes with some nice little suction cups here. And these suction cups mount directly onto your CO2 diffuser. And this way you can kind of just mount it to the side of the tank. You do want to make sure this is in the bottom half of the tank so the CO2 actually floats up to the surface. And then you also want to make sure it's in a spot where there's good airflow. So, or not airflow, water flow, so the water actually pushes it around throughout the tank. In between that now, what we're going to do is this is the check valve. This way once you kind of get this guy up and running, there's no way that water is going to come back into your system. So say it stops pumping for whatever reason, this just doesn't pump everything back in. So it does come with a nice check valve. So what we're going to do on this system is about right here. I'm just going to cut it. Make sure that on this one at least, this white part goes towards the sugar. That's the easiest way to remember. That way the CO2 comes through in the proper direction. All right, now it is actually saying, so you want to make sure this is fully closed. You want to leave it fully closed for 24 hours just so that compression builds up. After it gets running for a while, you'll kind of open it up. You run those bubbles in there, and then that will, and we'll kind of hit this in about 24 hours and see how it's running. But right now, we just got to let it ferment and start going. So, all right guys, so currently we have it mounted. It's about midway on the tank. It's by a couple different sources of flow. Obviously there's no air or no CO2 running through it right yet. Don't have anything made up in there, but we'll definitely check that out tomorrow and go from there. Next, we're gonna set up though our CO2 test indicator to let us know if it's running the proper level of CO2. So we just set up the CO2 system, but now we need to know if our CO2, if it's working, how it's getting into the water. What's our, what levels do we have? So we have this wonderful CO2 test indicator. Now it is a interesting little glass horn looking thing. So go ahead, you'll put your suction cup here on the side. And now it looks like a horn with a suction cup. Next, you are gonna take this fancy schmancy test indicator liquid, and it's Indikatorlösung if in German, apparently. Now, into the horn, you will put 15 drops. So, and then we kind of get it down inside of here. And now we have our test solution. So this way here, as we set this in, we kind of suction cup it in. You do not want this like obviously sitting over your CO2 diffuser so it's filling it up. You want it actually below the level of the CO2 diffuser. And this is then gonna kind of tell you what the CO2 level is in the tank. And then you will actually go off of the colors on the side, and that will tell you how much CO2 is in your water. So right now, it is low on CO2. We do not have enough CO2 in our air. So we're gonna go put this into the tank and get that all set up. So we'll go ahead and, I don't know if I wanna put this right by it, maybe on the other side. Let's go ahead and try it over here. So we're gonna take this, run it right over here, and we'll just get that suction cup to the side, nice suction cup, and you can kind of see it just hanging out in there now. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Tye-Dyed Iguana. We're here to kind of do a follow-up to the CO2 canister that we set up, the Fluval BIO-CO2. So time to kind of turn the valve and see what's going on. So you can see here, we're kind of turning the valve. You can see the little bubble coming up off the top of that little pyramid there. And you can see it starting to increase. And we're gonna do it slowly today. We don't wanna do it too crazy until we can really dial anything in. We don't wanna drop CO2 levels like nuts. So right there is where I'm gonna leave it right now. And then we'll watch the little diffuser and see if it starts putting anything out. And then watching our test indicator just to make sure that things are not going crazy.